welcome to another construction video. So this one is actually a construction for Tonic Showcase number 11, which is the Timeless Tea Jar. There are actually two boxes that you can create within that Showcase die set. But they both go together with exactly the same principles. The only difference is one of them has a slightly more tapered bottom to it, so the panel actually changes shape towards the bottom, but that is the only difference. This one is just symmetrical top and bottom, but they go together exactly the same way, and they also have exactly the same lid and top mechanism for how to put the lid on as well. But I would usually do a construction like this at the end of my up close video for the showcase. However, I think it might benefit you just to have this video separately. You know, you might, I mean, you do get instructions in the die set, so it's not like you don't know how to put it together, but I do know a lot of you like to have a video to follow to put something together, and I do too. That's the way I like to learn. So hopefully it'll be helpful to somebody, and I just thought having it separate means you don't have to like try and search through my up close video looking for it as well. So to create this timeless tea jar, you need two of this funny looking shape, which actually makes the lid of the jar. Obviously I've already decorated all of mine just to make it quicker for putting it all together, but you need two of those. You need four of this piece here. This is going to create like the collar around the top of the jar, and actually when I was putting this together and like seeing the lid and this collar mechanism and stuff, it was very much reminding me of the Venetian Amphora die set. So if you had that one, it's kind of a less complicated version basically, but it has the same kind of top mechanism for the lid. So if you've made that one before, it's a kind of a similar concept. So yeah, four of those, and then you need one of this piece, which is the largest octagon die that actually has this debossed detail on it, with the smallest octagon die cut from the centre of it. And then for this one of the tea jars, which is just the octagon shape, for the bottom you then need two of the largest octagon again, and I have put tape all over the back of one of them and then not on the other one, because we're going to sort of sandwich them together to give a neater look. But if you're making the other tea jar, which looks like this and has the tapered bottom edge to it, you will need two of the smaller hexagon, or octagon even, that cuts out of the centre of this ring to do the top portion. The top portion of this box is exactly the same, but the bottom is the smaller octagon rather than the larger octagon, because it actually kind of tapers in more to be a smaller shape on there. So that is the only difference. And then you also want two of the main panel pieces, and you can see I've only decorated four of these, not the bottom ones, but you can definitely decorate the bottom ones as well if you want to. I just decided I wanted to just have the decoration on the top little triangles on there. For these two pieces, you want to put the tape on every single tab that goes around. There's quite a few of them, but it doesn't take too long to put the tape on all of them. And I have used 3mm red liner tape. I just found it's less hassle than using 6mm and having to like fold up the edge of it because it overhangs the tab a little bit. 3mm seems to be the perfect sort of width. These ones I've also put 3mm tape on, but I've only put it on these two tabs because with a collar kind of mechanism, I do like to use wet glue to stick these side bits together, and then I use little tiny pegs to hold it in place. So I've got my little pot of pegs here. Some companies sell these as like actual embellishments to use on your project, but I actually got mine in the works. I'm not sure if they sell them for embellishment purposes or for holding things together, but I also think that Woodware sell little mini pegs as well, and I think they sort of advertise them more for like holding things together. So I do think these are very useful to have in your stash, and we will be using them to hold this together. But if you don't have little wooden pegs, any like little clippy pegs that you might have, whether it is like a bulldog clip or like these ones are actually for knitting, I think my mum gave me them. But yeah, any kind of little peg that can hold things together is always good when you're doing like something that needs the precision to be held in place, but you're using wet glue to do it. Those little pegs are fantastic. Then the top pieces of these two go together like this, perpendicular, to create the actual lid of the box. So you need a decorative piece on the square of one and tape on the square of the other, and then I've only put tape on these two glue tabs here, because again on all of these ones I'm going to be using wet glue and the little pegs to hold them together, just so that it is nice and firm, because obviously the lid's probably going to be taken on and off quite a few times depending on what kind of gift you're putting inside it, so I like to make sure that's really nice and secure. So those are all the pieces that we need. Also this piece doesn't need any tape on it because it's actually the tape from these bits that's going to hold that in place, so, and from the top of the box as well, so we don't actually need any tape on this ring piece. So let's start with the lid, considering I said we're going to have to leave that to dry with the little pegs on, and it's nice to, you know, give it the longest amount of time to dry. So if we zoom in on this, we can pre-fold it now. It's probably easier to pre-fold it now. So everything is folding away from you. So you're keeping the professional edge towards you, which you know which side that is because you've decorated it. And then we're just folding every single tab away from us. And there are quite a few to fold on these, but it's not too difficult. And I've actually been using the textured Craft Perfect cardstock. So you don't need too much of a heavyweight cardstock for this box. It is really nice and sturdy, just with the only 215 GSM kind of weight. So that's really nice to know that you can use sort of any cardstock really. So we're folding them with all the folds away from us to create this kind of a shape. And we want to do the same with the other one as well. So just folding everything away from us and just creasing them nicely. If you have used a thicker cardstock, you might want to crease them with your bone folder or your glide folder or your card creaser to get a really nice, firm, neat sort of fold along them. But with the Craft Perfect, you can just do it by hand. So we've now got both of these done, and we want to take the tape off of this one here, which I just overlapped two pieces to do that, and then we just want to stick them perpendicular to each other. And we're literally lining up the two cut lines of this with the two score lines here, and that's how we're going to get that to go together nicely. There we go. Then you can see here how some of these tabs are now on top because of the way it sticks together, so you want to carefully bend them underneath, because obviously they want to be sticking underneath eventually, so we bend them underneath. Then I found the next easiest way to put this together is to then bring this up the other way and fold these glue tabs upwards like this, so they're slightly more out of the way. And you can do this one at a time, but this is my third one that I'm making, so I'm going to do them all at once. It also sort of saves time from me putting my scissors down and picking them back up again. But basically you want to take the red liner tape backing off of that, and then you want to fold this one down, and you're kind of lining up this cut line with the score line, and it's going to sort of taper the lid nicely for you. So you've got them stuck together like that, and it's bringing that shape of the lid together, and you just want to do that with all four of them all the way around. So really, really simple to do. You could also add a little bit of wet glue on that as well if you wanted to. So that is like the main portion of the lid, and then we have all 8 of these little glue tabs around the edges to stick together now. So this is what I want to do with wet glue. So I've got my little fine applicator, and I've got some of these pegs to hold them, and you're basically just going to go round, tiny little blob of glue on the little tab. Again, do it so the cut line is lining up with the fold line, and then that's how you know the angle that it goes. You're basically making this go straight down, because this is what's going to hold on to the rim that we're going to make onto the actual box with those other small little grey pieces. So literally tiny blob of glue on the tab, line the cut line up with the fold line, and then just peg it into place. The glue doesn't need like too long to dry, but putting that peg on it just makes sure that it's not gonna move, because you know sometimes when it hasn't quite dried, if it moves and then it gets stuck with like a solid bond, it's a real pain because you can't really get it apart very neatly again. So if you peg it, you know that it's going to stay exactly where you put it, which is really nice. You can wipe off any excess glue because you don't really want the peg to stick to the glue. And you can just keep going round, tiny dab of glue on all of the little glue tabs. You could do this with tape as well if you wanted, but it is a little bit fiddly trying to cut tiny bits of tape, so I do find the wet glue is stronger and it's also less of a hassle with trying to cut small bits of tape and then take the backing off the small bits of tape as well. I do just find this way easier. So that is the lid done, and we can leave that to dry. So really pretty simple, isn't it, just putting that together. We just got 4 glue tabs with tape and then 8 tiny glue tabs with a little dab of glue and then a peg to hold it, and that is the lid portion done for our box. So we can leave that to dry. Then the next thing is to put the main box together, because we're going to have to leave this portion as the last piece because we need to be able to put the box together and get the base inside the box first before we can put the sort of top portion on the box. So for the main piece of the box, you want to make sure that everything is in line with each other and that you've decorated the right sides, so that all of the top, what bits you want around the top are all along the top basically. And then the first thing you want to do is stick this first little bit together. So we can take the tape off of this and stick it onto this one. And then we've got the whole long length of our box, and then we want to pre-fold all of the lines. Again, everything is folding away from us, so every glue tab and all of the between each octagon, everything is folding away when you have the professional decorated edge towards you. So we just want to get all of the glue tabs folded. Also, when you do pre-fold all of the glue tabs like this on any box that you're making, it does actually make it so much easier for you to see the form of the box as well. I mean, I know when you buy a box die set, you have a picture of the box on the packaging, so you kind of know how it's going to look when you've done it. But if you're kind of struggling in your brain to sort of think how like it's going to go together, sort of more like the engineering of how it goes together, it's really nice to do all of this pre-folding, whether you're actually starting on a real box or whether you've just made it out of like white card to begin with. If you do all of the pre-folding, you can actually see how it's going to come together before you've actually stuck anything, which is again a nice thing to have. It gives you more confidence putting it together basically. So if you see how, because we've pre-folded everything, you can kind of see how the shape of it is going to come together and form that octagon for the top and the bottom of it. So it just sort of helps pre-folding it like that. Then, because this has got an even number of sides, we know that we can bring this side in and fold it flat, and then take the tape off of this and bring the other side in. And, you know, because it's got even amount of sides, we can fold it flat and we're not trying to stick it together in midair. So that also makes that much easier as well. And now we have all 4 of the sides put together. Then the next piece is to go round and take these diagonals here. So the diagonals that are on the octagon, we want to take the tape off of these glue tabs. I'm going to do it all at once just because I have done it before, but you might want to do it one tab at a time if that helps you. You know, like getting in less of a mess with things sticking where you don't want them. But I'm just going to go around the bottom first. So there's just 4 tabs around the bottom to do. And then basically you're taking the cut line from that octagon piece and the fold line of the triangle piece, and then we're just bringing them up together. And you can see how the box is coming into that shape now as well. So we just have 4 of them around the bottom of the box. So that's 2, and then number 3, and the final one. So we've now got that piece for the bottom of the box, and if you were doing the other one, you would have been doing these pieces for the bottom of the box. So they have the longer triangle on. It's exactly the same process. That triangle is just elongated and it makes a smaller base. So exactly the same. And then we can do the same for the top. So we can go around with the same 4 tabs but on the top of the box. And in this case we know it's the top because I've only decorated the top. But with the other one you definitely know it's the top because it'll have a bigger opening. Okay, so then we just go round and stick all of these together. Actually, I just thought, when I stuck these together, I'll show you. If you just took this box and stuck a base on the top and a base on the bottom, what about if you play board games and you just want like a giant dice? Wouldn't that be a cool dice that has octagonal sides and then little square portions? It'd be quite funny if it landed, with triangular portions. It'd be quite funny if it landed like that though. You wouldn't know what the number was, but it could make a really cool dice. Or actually even just a decoration. Looks quite cool as a decoration. Even actually, when you've made it, obviously that would have the base on it, and this could be the opening here. It would be just a nice little pot to have on your desk to chuck things in, like paper clips and things. So that would also be quite a nice idea for using it as well. But anyway, let's get on to putting the base on the box. So we remember I want these at the top, so we're going to go this end. Now I'm kind of doing overkill here with like double taping it, but I've put tape on the glue tabs and I have put tape all over one of these octagons, but you could just do one or the other if you wanted to, but having the tape all over this octagon means that this octagon, when we place it inside the box, is going to stick on it really nicely because there'll be exposed adhesive all in there. Again, you might want to do this a few tabs at a time, but I'm just going to take the tape off of all of them, but I do start with just one tab to get this into place really nicely. Because you can just, if you make sure that one side of the octagon, okay, let's take all of this off, but if you make sure if one side of the octagon is firmly secured first, it just sort of means that it's easier to kind of get the octagon to go on neatly all the way around the edges and for all of the tabs to stick in the right places. Just having that one that's really firmly pressed on so you know it's not going to come off is really helpful. So that's how I like to do it. So just pick any one side and then take one of your glue tabs that's on the box, and we're literally just going to go from the inside, put your fingers behind that one glue tab and line it up perfectly with that one side of the octagon. And you can really press that into place, and then because you've already got that one tab on there perfectly, you can now obviously if you're doing this a few tabs at a time it'll be easier, but then you've got that one tab in place and you can actually just like hover this over the top and get everything else to fall in place as well. But definitely if you don't feel confident doing it like this, do it one tab at a time, and you can even put some wet glue on the tabs as well if you want to be able to make sure you can take it off again if you don't quite get it on there perfectly as well. But that is the bottom of the box on, and then I flip it over, I take my glide folder and I press from the inside on all of those little tabs to make sure they're really well stuck onto the base of the box. Then the other octagon, we're going to go pretty side up so that we've still got that gorgeous decoration on the inside, but we're going to cover all of the sticky that's exposed and the glue tabs that are down there. And then all I like to do is, that's already got a load of adhesive on, but obviously the top of the glue tab hasn't, so I like to put some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive all the way around the perimeter of the octagon, and then a scribble in the middle. And then you can just sort of move these glue tabs up and out of the way. You have to do this piece before you put the top portion on because this will make the hole smaller. And then you can just place it, well, push it down the inside and then just sort of place one side, one of the short little sides, against that side in the bottom so it's placed in there, and then it will just fall into the right place. And then you can take your glide folder again and press it down firmly. So again, it sticks to the adhesive really nicely. And now you just have a really nice, neat inside of your box as well. And it gives it double strength because you've trapped that glue tab of the bottom between two pieces. So it just makes it nice and sturdy as well. So that is the main bottom portion of the box. I'm very glad I did this as a separate video because we've been going for like 20 minutes already, so it would have made the other video much longer. But for the next piece, we're going to do the same thing that we did for the bottom, so you can work like 1 or 2 glue tabs at a time if you'd rather. But this time we're sticking the octagonal sort of frame piece with the aperture cut out of it. And then this is going to be the portion that we're going to turn into a lip that the lid will sit onto. So I'm going to do the same thing where I take, obviously we can't put our hand inside the box now, but you sort of fold one glue tab upwards and again take that one short side of the octagon and hold it in place, and then you can press from the other side to get one really securely, firmly stuck down. And then all I do is I push those tabs down, make sure they're not sort of sticking up so they'll sort of catch at the same time. And then you can just manoeuvre this around and get all of the little tabs to stick around the edge of the octagon. And then you can just pinch, so you like pinch from above and below to get all of those glue tabs to stick really nicely. And that is like the start of the top of the box. Then the next bit is these 4 pieces. So these weird little pieces, we need 4 of those. And then for the folding on these, the vertical folds, so the one for this little glue tab and this one here, we're folding away from us. But the ones that we've put tape on, we're folding towards us. So that is the only difference when folding these, pre-folding these score lines. The ones with the tape on are towards us, the rest are away from you. Okay, so once we've done that, we're then going to do one at a time, because it definitely is easier to do this one at a time than it is to stick them all together first. And what you want to do is take the tape off both of the little tabs, and then we're going to, because these are folding upwards, so it's kind of like a backwards L shape, it's the sticky bit that's going to go underneath this circle or this octagon frame here. So we're going to like fold that behind itself, put that one up underneath, and then from inside we can press underneath to stick that first one on there, so you can see how that is stuck on, and we've got the other piece here. Then you just manoeuvre that around and stick the next one up underneath and press from the inside like we did to stick the actual ring on there. So this is going to give that sort of lip for the lid to sit onto, and we just want to complete that all the way around. And then once we've put them all on, we stick the little glue tabs together. So for the next one, you just want to sort of bend that glue tab out of the way and then just come back in and place this one up and underneath there. You're just lining up, you're just lining up the cut edge of the inside of that sort of octagonal ring with the fold line in this little grey piece. And then when we come to stick them together, these two will match up perfectly, the little tab here. And you're just going to push from underneath to get that to stick. Again, so we've now got 2. They're not quite sitting right yet because we haven't stuck these last bits together, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Then we can do the next one. And again, move that glue tab out of the way that's there, and we can just place this up and underneath, and then press around there, and then the final one. Move the glue tab, and then press it into place, like that. So we're now left with this, and we've got these glue tabs sticking out. So now all we have to do is do what we did for the lid, get 4 little pegs this time, take a tiny little bit of glue, and if I zoom you in it might be more helpful. Tiny little bit of glue on that little tab there, and then we're just gonna fold that up and hold it together, and then put the peg on. And we're just going to do that for the 4 little tabs all the way around. And that's just going to give the perfect place for our lid to fit on perfectly. One more. And there we go. So I'll let that dry just for a couple of minutes, and then I'll be back to show you putting the lid on top. Okay, so the lid's definitely been sitting for long enough, so we can take all of the little pegs off of this. And you can see how lovely that little lid is. Actually, if you collected like Lego minifigures or something, you could even like make loads of these for them to stand on, and they could just stand, and it's like a little pedestal for them as well. Not necessarily these colours, but having that like little domed podium kind of thing would look quite cool. Anyway, that is the lid that's actually all nice and dry now, really nice and sturdy. And then we can take the pegs off the rim of the top of this box. And there's a pretty decent amount of space in there for a gift. Definitely, well actually, I was going to say definitely a chocolate orange, but I'm not sure if it would fit through the hole. But definitely if you just want to give someone some chocolates, and you could just buy a big tub of Celebrations or Quality Street or Heroes or something, and just put a nice big selection of them in there, would make a really lovely gift. It's much nicer packaging than you know, just a cardboard box. I mean, it is a cardboard box, but it's a pretty cardboard box, not just a bought one. So that is the top of the box then put together, and then you can see how easily the lid just pops over the top. Oh, there we go. Fits on really, really nicely. And I decided to do like a different colour lid for this one, and then I've just accented the turquoise, so there's tiny little bits of turquoise around the edge behind little panels and stuff on it. But I really love this box. I think it's a really cool shape and design, and then this is the other version that you can do as well. So I've done them both in the same colours, although actually I haven't put the strip around this one. Let's show you how I did that. Okay, so to do that little strip around the top of the lid, if you like the look of that, I felt like it needed it. I do still think like it needs it on the top, so I'll show you how to do that. Basically, all I do is take a piece of card, Craft Perfect, same that I actually used to make the body of the box, and make sure it's got a nice straight edge with my guillotine first. Oh, and this is actually the new guillotine as well. I can't remember, I put my old one now, but the new one, it has inch measurements along the top instead of centimetres, so I just mark on here with a Sharpie the places that I like to cut my panels to, so that I know the exact kind of size. But if you are after a new guillotine, this is the new one with the grey handles, and it is really lovely. I think it's actually, it feels sturdier than my old one, although my old one goes through a lot, so or it's been through a lot over the past like 4 years or something, so yeah. But yeah, this is the newer one if you were interested. And then I basically just put out the side here a little amount, so I'd reckon that's probably about 4mm, so I put out about that on the side, cut it down, and I will need 2 of them because you need slightly more than 1, so you kind of just have to eyeball it. And I mean, unless you have the super trimmer that has the measurements on the other side, or you can take the one you've already cut and just hold it at the edge to make sure it's going to be the same, and then you can cut the second one. So that's how I cut those little thin strips. I don't actually like properly measure them, I just kind of eyeball it. And then what I do is I turn them over and I take some 3mm red liner tape, and so one of these isn't long enough to go all the way around, so instead of doing like 1 6 sides and 1 2 sides, I tried to go 4 and 4 for the sides. So I tend to put a piece of red liner tape about that far along. Obviously if you have a guillotine that cuts the length of A4, you could just cut it from the length of A4 and then it would be the right size to go all the way around. But, I mean, we've got multiple joins on this lid anyway, so it doesn't actually make much of a difference. So that's what I do, and then you just make sure the tape is right up against the edge of them here. So the tape is going right to the ends of these here, and then you just start with one of them, take the tape off of it, and then I just place it on. So I start at a join, one of the joins, I mean there's a join at every side because of the little glue tabs, and then you just place it on. I like to leave a little bit at the bottom, and then you just follow round, and I'm going to just go to 4 sides. And then you turn it over this way and cut from this side, and then you can get it in line with the edge of the tab. So you've now got it going around 4 sides, and then I start with the next piece. And that's got tape right up to the edge, so I butt that up against the last one. And then try and go the same distance from the bottom again, all the way around the other 4 sides. And then when you get to the last one, you flip it over and you cut it from this side. And then that then gives you the perfect little band all the way around it. And if you want these to be a little bit firmer, you can just sort of squish them, and then they get that proper like little fold in them as well. I mean, it's a decorative element too, but actually because there is a glue tab at every little join, I suppose it is sort of ensuring that that's not going to come unstuck. I mean, it shouldn't do with the glue, but it's kind of ensuring a little bit more then, and that just gives an extra decorative element. And the nice thing is these lids are interchangeable across both different boxes as well, so that's the exact same lid on both of them. And I decorated them the same because I kind of wanted to show you exactly the same sort of colours of cardstock, whereas the only difference is this one has a wiggly edged mat that I chopped down the middle and moved slightly further out so you could see it, and for this one there isn't a wiggly edged mat for the just the octagon shape. So all I did was stick this panel onto the turquoise card and then just trim around it with a little border, just to give that little extra accent of turquoise around them. So I hope you enjoyed this construction video of showcase number 11, which is the timeless tea jar. I did only show you this one, but it's exactly the same process for the taller one. The bottom just looks different, so you can easily identify which is the top and which is the bottom of the box. You do also get the panels to decorate these bottom sections if you want to, but for the ones that I've done, I've just decorated the little top portions. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful to somebody. If you do find these helpful, do let me know. I know some of you do already let me know, but if you've, watched a few of them and never commented before, let me know if you do find them helpful. And yeah, I definitely think it was the right choice to do this one separately, because I think I've been talking for like half an hour now. So yes, it was definitely good to do this as a separate construction video. But yeah, don't forget to go and watch the up close video for these boxes as well, or this showcase, if you want to see all of the different dies that are in the die set, because there are multiple other decorative panels that you can use on them. These are not the same, but they're the same kind of designs within the panel. You can see the half flower is kind of at the top on both, and these sort of daisy flowers. Some other really gorgeous ones with a really lovely like leaf kind of design in them that I really like that one. And then there's kind of almost more of an oriental sort of looking one as well for the octagon. So yeah, definitely check that video out as well, and there'll also be a sped up video showing how to make some cards with some of the panels as well. So I'm not 100% sure the order in which they'll come out, but I'll probably put this one up the same day as the up close video so that you've got them both there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in this die set, there will be links below the video as well that will be affiliate links to the Tonic website. And I really appreciate you using them if you do use them. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye!